In our first story tonight, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has charged finance ministers of the G20 countries to take advantage of his African partnership with Germany to transform the economies. The partnership between the group of 20 African countries and Germany seeks to support the economic growth of the continent and alleviate poverty. At the opening of the first African summit in Accra, Dr. Bawumia stressed the need for members to utilize available resources in areas of agriculture, oil and gas, among others, to improve the standards of living for their citizens. Compact with Africa is a partnership between 20 African countries and Germany following the African Partnership Conference in Berlin. This partnership is an opportunity for African finance ministers to find lasting solutions to challenges by private sector businesses. Speaking at the opening of the first meeting in Accra, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia called on participants to use the opportunity provided to transform the economies.
We need to be ambitious and bold. What we are doing with the Compact with Africa is not something that is being dictated to us. It is something that we want to do, and therefore we have ownership of and should have ownership of. For our government, there is a sense of urgency for economic transformation in order to meet the needs of citizens in a rapidly changing world. Let us use the Compact to harness our transformation opportunities. I understand that our partners at the African Center for Economic Transformation believe that transformation is possible in a generation. This is the kind of bold vision we need to drive the Compact with Africa as well. Let us harness our capacity to learn from each other and improve.
Meanwhile, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta is confident about the development of the private sector and is to achieve the objectives of the G20 partnership.
So I have this dream. I have this dream of an economic transformation. As the Veep said, in this generation. A dream of both economic and political sovereignty and for Africa. A dream in which our value add to our resources really are leveraged to support us. This is an opportunity we must seize. I hope by the end of the day, each one of us can walk away with the following. At least one new insight on how our country can better take advantage of the CWA to help in its economic development. At least one example that we have learned from another country of how we can tackle an implementation challenge that our country is facing under the CWA. A strengthened resolve to work to significantly increase FDI and private infrastructure investment in our country. A clear sense of being a member of a community of practitioners, a club with the confidence that when needed, we could reach out to our members to bounce off ideas on how to tackle a policy or implementation problem we may be facing.
Partnership is to promote private investment in Africa. It aims to develop comprehensive, coordinated, and country-specific investment compacts between individual African countries, international organizations, and other partners. Now, latest documents emerging from the IMF have revealed that government indeed requested for an extension of the fund program. However, there appears to be discrepancies regarding conclusion date for the program. While government is proposing December 2018, the IMF document gives a contrary date as to when the program ends. George Rafi has more in this report.
Documents show that the request was influenced by a weakened economy it inherited, making it difficult to meet program targets by the end of 2017. Therefore, this administration needed more time to fulfill program targets, forcing government to request for the extension. According to the letter of intent sent to the managing director of the IMF, Christine Lagarde, and signed by the finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta and central bank governor Dr. Ernest Addison, the program will be completed through a budget cycle of January 2018 through to December 2018. Therefore, it is requesting for approval to modify the length of the arrangement by 1 year and reschedule disbursement evenly. However, when you restrict yourself to this letter, then the program would end in December 2018. Going through the proposed schedule of reviews and disbursement, it showed that the last review meeting for this program would happen in February 2019. However, subject to completing all the reviews before this proposed date. Government in the letter also outlined measures to improve revenue collections and check rising expenditure to demonstrate its commitment to the IMF program.
Well, meanwhile, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has been speaking on the extension of the IMF program. He says reactions by donors and some investors put more pressure on him to deliver rather than be complacent. Some of the country's donors have indicated their preparedness to fast-track disbursements because of the program extension. Now, business associations and even civil society groups have also described the development as good for the economy. The finance minister tells Joy Business it is a sign these actors would respond when the right things are done.
Inherited an IMF program that had derailed. So thinking through that you can end in April was somewhat impractical. But I think what we need to appreciate was that the president was quite emphatic that, you know, the November 2018 budget will be done with the IMF, which in effect means that the 2018 period would be the budget cycle in which what we had agreed to in November will go through. And he wants to make sure that by the end of December 2018, we do not have the IMF program anymore. So we had been logged in by the very nature of the timing anyway. And also you and I are aware that instead of being at about 3.5%, we're at 9.3% budget deficit. And so to correct it, you're going to have to work through that cycle. So I'm not sure, I mean, and for what is the average person looking for, George? Macro stability, get inflation down, make sure there are resources for people to do their work. And I think we have lived at least even these 8 months to prove that that's what we are committed to doing.
What would you make of people who would say that government, and not you, I mean, you've engaged at the personal level, and I know your stance on it, but communications from other interested parties in government, they are not truthful about this whole idea about the program being extended or not being extended?
What do you mean? I don't understand the fact of not being truthful.
Because initially there were reports about the fact that this program would be extended and that it cannot be completed in the original time space, but we got the understanding that no, we are sticking to the program.
So George, I mean, why are we discussing this? The reality is now clear that we are ending in December 2018, period.
Okay.
And beyond that, it really is, are you guys going to be able to maintain the momentum that you've started?
Can you?
I think that we must, and we can, and we have to. You know.
In other news, government will be signing a syndicated loan with some banks in London by end of September as part of measures to reduce interest accrued on loans from the central bank to pay farmers for their produce. Cocoa Board has had to pay about 22% interest rate on a $200 million loan it contracted from the central bank to purchase cocoa beans from farmers. But the Minister for Agriculture, Dr. Owusu-Efik-Akoto, is hopeful the new syndicated loan will see the interest come down to about 2.5%. The minister was speaking on the sidelines of the inauguration of a 7-member board for the cocoa marketing company.
This is the first time Ghana Cocoa Board is having to go out and borrow money at 21%, 22% to pay farmers for the produce. That is how bad the industry has become. Cocoa Board is so big, it cannot go to commercial banks, so it goes to the central bank to borrow, and the prevailing rate is what I'm quoting to you, the local. Don't forget that we are just at the point of signing the syndicated loan, which we've done for the last 26 years. That's why the chief executive is not here. They are abroad, and hopefully by the time they come, we will have signed this, and then next month, well, later on this month, we will have these access to these low interest rates, so 2.53% borrowed on the London and in the syndicated banks, so that we can have that money available to start operating, buying, purchasing from farmers and carrying out their marketing activities.
Now, prices of homes are expected to reduce by end of year following the scrapping of some taxes by government. That's the prediction coming from some real estate firms in the country. Government in the 2017 budget abolished the 5% tax on home purchase, which was introduced in the 2015 budget by the former administration. President of Indigo Homes, Anthony Autry, also adds the move by government is already yielding some positive impact on the industry.
To reduce the housing deficit through the introduction of favorable policies is said to be commendable and believed to be yielding results. Government in the 2017 budget abolished the VAT on mortgage, which was introduced in 2015 budget by the erstwhile administration. President of Indigo Homes, Anthony Autry, in an interview with Joy Business during the launch of his company's newly constructed Ayamensa Park, said the move will improve standards in the industry.
What we're even happy about is that we can provide more value just because of the VAT that was removed from houses. So at the beginning of the budget read, that's greatly helped us, which means that as of now, the things that I couldn't put in my house, all of a sudden I have 5%. The buyer doesn't need to pay that VAT. So, you know, taxes are sometimes good and sometimes too much. I think there's a balance there. That's just what I believe.
So has that really, helped you to?
That has really helped me.
Ghana's housing deficit is currently over 1.7 million, and Anthony Autry's Indigo Homes is poised to help reduce the deficit through the use of modern technology.
We realize that there's a gap in the market just for quality, moderately priced homes. And our mantra is to work tirelessly to provide that quality at a price that is not, you know, like what is in the center of Accra in terms of the flats or anything, you know, around that area. So what we try and do is collaborate with international companies. We get, for example, wholesale prices with Bosch, and then we invest in good technology. So on our site now, we're using what we call a fossa form system. It allows us to build fast. We can get you a home in 4 months. And then what it does, so it reduces the waste, which means that we're able to generate more value for you on a day-to-day basis.
The Ayamensa Park is a carefully crafted gated community with security amenities and convenience of modern living.
Now, the free SHS policy expected to increase senior high enrollment and bring some relief to parents has largely been welcomed despite some teething problems. Some critics, however, continue to raise questions regarding its sustenance and the ability of government to continue to provide funding for the flagship program. Joy Business has been seeking some answers from the Education Ministry. There's more in the following report.
Government's flagship free senior high school policy commenced with an estimated 424,092 students qualifying for the 2017-2018 academic year. Per the 2017 budget, a sum of 3.6 million Ghana cedis is expected to be allocated for its funding. Apparently, disbursement has delayed, as at Monday, only 20% of the budget for its implementation was expected to hit the accounts of the various senior high schools. Question is whether it is enough to start with. Dr. Yao Osei Educhum is Deputy Minister of Education.
We are doing everything possible to make sure that resources go to them. We know there are some perishable items that they buy and they need the money, and the money will go to them. But we have made arrangements to make sure that everything that they need is provided. But we will continue to engage them and provide all them for. We're giving them guidelines as to funds that will come to them, funds that will not come to them. We've given them guidelines as to the percentage of resources that is coming to them. We'll continue to talk to them.
In an exclusive interview, we asked how government plans to sustain funding for the policy.
I understand that there are concerns when people ask about how are you going to sustain this. My response is always that a good government that wants to do a good thing for people will always find the money to get it done. There's a need for exchange of information. Others will say, can we do it this way? Can we do it that way? But the government has made a commitment, and just like we did with the initial implementation, other things will be done, and implementation is going to be smooth. The money at this point is coming from government of Ghana, of course. It's through the budget. We didn't go begging or borrowing to come and implement this, which is a good thing. Our donor partners probably will be wary to say, are you coming to me? The government did not go to them, and we are implementing this. So I believe with the vision that Addo Akufo-Addo has, and his focus to improve education, where there's a will, there's a way. We are going to find a way to fund this to make it sustainable.
Although there have been issues raised around the lateness of the disbursement of funds to the schools who are rolling out the free SHS program this academic year, the minister has assured Ghanaians that funds will be dispersed by the end of the week. He also said financing and sustainability of the program is no issue, and that government was willing and prepared to find funds from all sources to make sure Ghanaian students have the best education they possibly can. We'll bring you updates on the story as they come in. My name is Kuko Apia, reporting for Joy Business.
And you're watching Business Live. We are taking a short break. We'll be back with the Joy Business van. Welcome back. Elijah Amoo loves to cook, and his greatest passion is to feed the hungry. His food recovery organization, Food for All Africa, is not only meeting that need, but has paved a way for him to meet and cook for the Queen. Chef, as he's probably called, takes Odilia and Tiamwa to his kitchen on this edition of the Joy Business Van.
That Ghanaian guy, he's a chef that is putting Ghana on the map. Well, so he cooked for the Queen and her grandsons at the Buckingham Palace. He actually made wache for them, and I hear Prince Harry was actually the one that tasted the wache. Well, the Queen couldn't taste the wache because she's actually stopped eating rice for the past 30 years. Well,
to be a 2017 Queen's Young Leader Award winner, and whilst collecting my award, Her Majesty offered me the opportunity to cook for her, which was an opportunity I really love.
We're off to the Burger and Relish kitchen to make jollof balls and the Independence Burger. Wondering what that is? Well, it's in the details. At a usual Ghana Nigeria who knows how to prepare the best jollof competition, Chef Elijah's jollof balls just settled the matter.
All we needed was our Ghanaian jollof, specced up with egg, cooking cream, crumbs, and then a bit of the magic spice, and then we have our shito mayo, and that we use it to beat them.
The Independence Burger's combination of plantain chips representing the yellow in the Ghanaian flag, some wagashi, that's cow milk, and some minced meat together with tomatoes representing the red, and some lettuce also representing the green. Don't let your mouth water yet, because this will go down well with some fresh juice and jollof balls. Now, what is this? What has been put around it?
So instead of using breadcrumbs, we're using cornflakes,
okay,
eggs, cooking cream to coat our jollof balls, and we're going to serve it with shito mayo.
We know it's Wagga sheep, it's cheese, and Chef Elijah thinks the cheese market in Ghana should be looked at seriously since he uses more than 24,000 cedis worth of imported cheese every month.
We don't have any company. Currently, a lot of the cheese, over 80% of the cheese we use in this country comes from Netherlands. Some comes from Switzerland as well, and then Australia. However, Wagga sheep is a pure made cheese from cow, our local cows. What I believe is if we have companies that can mature this cheese over a period of time, its content is much better when you're comparing it to other cheese that we imported.
With all these innovations in food, it's no wonder he has another opportunity to put together a West African menu for the Buckingham Palace. I must say, the first wache he cooked for the Queen was eaten by Prince Harry, since the Queen has stopped eating rice for over 30 years. Elijah Amoo Addo is enjoying the fame of cooking for the royal family, but he tells the Joy Business Van he is turning this opportunity to serve others. The Food for All project was birthed with an observation Elijah made when a mentally challenged man was collecting food from dustbins for other mentally challenged people like him. The Food for All program picks up food from corporate organizations and individuals and gives them to those who need them.
So Food for All Africa operates West Africa's first food bank in Ghana by creating efficiency and sustainable means of nutrition for vulnerable children, aged and mentally, through what we call food recovery, farming, and then forum for stakeholders. We being West Africa's first food bank, we work with businesses, mostly supermarkets, restaurants, farmers, market women. Currently, Food for All, we're recovering between $5,000 to $10,000 worth of food on a monthly basis to support over 5,000 beneficiaries across 6 regions of Ghana.
What about a Food for All app? You can sit in the comfort of your home and just send a message that you have leftover food from parties or funerals for vulnerable people. Neighbors who are on the Food for All program will be contacted and the food picked up.
We're creating Food for All Africa mobile app, which enables food sharing at the same time at a discount or free. So as an individual, you download the app, you can check where you can have your favorite food ingredient at a discount or in whichever shop that have it listed on the app. At the same time, you can also upload your excess food.
But Elijah wants a food bank and looks at food security from a legislative perspective. Check out the Independence Burger, juice and jollof balls. Don't let your mouth water, because I get to eat this alone with a team, but you can make some at home.
It's nice, it's crispy, it's, I mean, you can see that you really have attention for details. A blend of the egg and all that. And then I agree with you that the spices for the jollof has to be used when you're doing the coating.
Time to do our interview of the day, and World Bank Country Director Henry Kerali says Ghana might already be benefiting from its extension of the IMF program. According to the World Bank, the extension of the program beyond the April 2018 completion date demonstrates government's commitment to ensuring fiscal prudence.
Interview of the day.
The extension, as it were, is a technicality in the sense that the program would have ended mid-year. Ghana's fiscal year is a calendar year, so it makes sense that this extension will now cover the entire fiscal year for Ghana.
Does it give you a sign of comfort that that fiscal consolidation that all the development partners are looking forward to will indeed, quote, be consolidated going forward?
We believe so. So far, the actions that we've seen from this government have been very positive. We have seen actions to try and increase the revenue, but at the same time actions to manage the expenditures. This is quite important for Ghana to be able to meet the target that has been agreed for the overall deficit for this year.
Could it fast track? And I know that for you at the World Bank, your board meets and decide on the allocations. That is not just one person thinking that this is good or bad, but could it also fast track the disbursement of funds that already been approved for Ghana because of this program? Or certain critical benchmarks need to be met before the disbursement will come?
The important issue here is the World Bank program is usually linked with the IMF program as well, particularly our budget support. And in this case, our budget support will now move forward. We are expecting to submit to our board a package of about $200 million of budget support for Ghana for this calendar year. Without the IMF board approval, it would have been difficult for us to push through that our own World Bank board approval of the budget support for Ghana.
So this extension has impacted on the fast tracking of the process, if I should say.
It has helped in reassuring the board, reassuring all Ghana's development partners that the government is serious about the consolidation effort and remains broadly on track with the revised program.
Interview of the day.
And that's it for Business Live tonight. You can read more about the IMF, the latest developments on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. Of course, all the videos that you missed out on are also uploaded on that website. My name is Darryl Kwao. I'll see you same time tomorrow.